What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well. The start of a new week. It's Monday. It's the day after, the night before. It's the day after Manchester United's fourth consecutive Premier League victory. A 3-1 victory over Arsenal at Old Trafford. And we're still basking in that glory a little bit. We're still basking in that victory. Can't do it for too long. There are games coming thick and fast, but what's the point of winning if you can't celebrate it a little bit, right? If anything, could you imagine? Could you imagine, after all the stick that Arsenal got for celebrating, if they started giving us stuff? If they started giving us stuff about celebrating yesterday's victory. So what we're going to do this morning, guys, we're going to have a bit of fun this morning. We're going to start off the week right. We're going to have some reaction to yesterday's games. We're going to get some clips in from some of the fan views. I've got some points I want to make from some of the fan views. We're going to hear from Flex, KG. We're going to hear from Robbie from AFTV, which he was talking about VAR, and we'll have a bit of a discussion about VAR this morning as well. We'll hear from Marcel, we'll hear from Cam. We'll talk about Eriksen and his quotes after the game yesterday. We'll talk about specific players. I want to shout out Christian Eriksen this morning. I want to have a real big discussion on Christian Eriksen because I just thought he was brilliant, and he is just what a player Christian Eriksen is, and we're going to get into all of that. So there's plenty to get into this morning. So smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Remember, you can join the UV Members Club by clicking the link in the video description as well. You get your badges, you get your emojis, get your exclusive members-only content, such as UV Raw. Of course, a new episode of UV Raw coming out this week. An example of the emojis you can get, there you go, Matimu on the screen right there. There's the Owen emoji, there's the porridge emoji. We can get some Flex and KG emojis in the chat as well. And because it's a morning solo stream as well, it's the morning after the night before. It's a breakdown stream, not me having a breakdown. We're breaking down the game. I'm not breaking down. That would be interesting, though. Let's be honest. That'd be an interesting way to start the week. Monday morning. Sometimes it makes you want to get there. And if that is the case, talk. Actually, so be sure to smash a like on the like button and be sure to subscribe. Bottom right hand corner. Okay, let's get into yesterday's game and let's talk about Erik ten Hag. Erik ten Hag. I called it this morning Ten Hag momentum building and Ten Hag's vision because we're seeing more and more, I think, of what Erik ten Hag wants and expects from Manchester United. Now, again, it must be said that the way that Manchester United are playing at the moment, I don't think is the perfect vision of what Erik ten Hag expects, but I think he deserves so much credit. I said this yesterday after the game. He deserves so much credit because lesser managers and lesser characters and lesser coaches, after the two results he had in the opening two games of the season against Brighton and particularly that defeat against Brentford, the manner of it, no disrespect for Brentford, but the opponent, just everything that happened in that game, that could have been the beginning of the end for a lot of managers. They would have crumbled, they would have stuck with their principles, they would have been steadfast, they would have been, no, I'm sticking with what I know, it's going to work, the players need to adapt, the players will need to adapt. And Ten Hag's reaction after that game, I think, is the reason why we've gone on for 4 consecutive victories and against big teams, Liverpool and Arsenal, both at home. Convincing victories, in my opinion. What he did is said, right, I need to adapt my tactics. The idea of how I want to play football, it's not going to work with these players, and it might not work in the Premier League, and it's going to take time. That is going to be a process. He emphasised the process a lot yesterday, talking after the game. And he realised, actually, I don't have time to implement that process. What I need right now is results. So you know what I'm going to do? Playing out from the back, not a necessity anymore. We'll go long. Total football, dependent on the opponent, like when we played Arsenal yesterday. Instead of trying to play total football, we'll go a bit more direct. Let's start defending game first, and maybe we play teams on the counter-attack against the smaller teams. We'll have more of the ball. We need to get better at that. But I think Ten Hag has managed somehow to do something that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Ralf Rangnick, to an extent Jose Mourinho, wasn't able to do, and that's galvanise a group of players. He somehow made these players that last season didn't want to run or refused to run or refused to have work rates. He's managed to galvanise them. He's managed to energise them. Now, I saw Gary Neville after the game yesterday saying, I don't know what's happened. I don't know what's happened. I can't put my finger on it. I think a lot of people could put their fingers on what's happened, Gary. It's fairly obvious. After that Brentford game, as Roy Keane says, he ran the players. He said on the day off, you come in, you run the distance you didn't do yesterday. And importantly, I'll do it with you because it's on me as well. The buck always stops with me. I'm the manager. So I'm going to run that distance with you. We're both going to get it right. We're both going to have to suffer for our misgivings on the pitch. But on top of that, he's made changes that, frankly, a lot of us have been looking for a while. He dropped Harry Maguire. He dropped Luke Shaw. Those underperforming players that had chance after chance after chance, he said, no more chances. Because if I stick with you, it's going to be the same fate as every other manager. I'm going to end up like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I'm going to end up like Ralf Rangnick. I'm going to end up like Jose Mourinho. And that's no longer employed by Manchester United. It's as simple as that. So I think Ten Hag deserves a ton of credit. Honestly, a ton of credit, because it's not an easy job. It's not an easy job, and he's done so well. KG's in the chat. Big up KG. KG, that comedian, says good morning to yourself, KG. Big up to KG as well. I've been seeing him all over my television screens. And if you watch Sky yesterday, you probably saw him. Adverts, Bloods, check it out. He's been doing press. He was on Kay Burley the other day, the show. And he's doing a tremendous job. So big up KG. And be sure to subscribe to his channel. Congrats. He recently got 20k as well. So big up to him. So everything's coming up Millhouse for KG right now. His Bloods, television, 10th anniversary, wedding anniversary, 20k on the channel. This is what you like to see. So get the KG emojis in the chat as well. Let's get into these Ten Hag quotes, because I've already gone off on about 5 tangents already. So Ten Hag said after the game, quote, "We are happy, satisfied with the win and the performance against a really good team in Arsenal. This team can deal with setbacks, and that is great. We have really improved on that. We have the right characters. Now the reliance in and get the belief. There is still room for improvement, and that is key too. And I think Ten Hag is right. There is still room for improvement. I saw this sort of bizarre criticism, and it's such a dumb argument in my opinion. Whenever a team wins a game, but it isn't to the other team's liking, or their style of football isn't to the other team's liking. Liverpool and Klopp have done this a load of time before. They all used to do it with people like Sam Allardyce, and I'm not saying we play Sam Allardyce football by any stretch of the imagination, but you know when they'll come out after the game and say, but they played counter-attacking football. Or they'll come up and they'll go, oh yeah, but they played long ball football. They won the game. Like, you can talk about performances, and you can talk about possession, you can talk about passing and all this kind of stuff. I would rather win the game. Call me crazy here. People can talk about performances, and you can talk about possession till the cows come home. But ultimately, in 2-3 weeks' time, what are they going to remember? They're going to remember the win. They're going to remember who won the game, not who had the most possession or who made nice passes. So that idea of, oh, it's your counter-attacking team. You know, counter-attacking team. Oh, yeah, because that was the best avenue for us to win the game. And as Ten Hag says, quote, "You can see Arsenal's routine are there, but our team spirit brings us the win. When we got beaten in the press, we fought back and we were good in transition." And he's right. That's the situation. It really is as simple as that. I thought also as well with Mikel Arteta yesterday, I actually thought he was very naive. I think it was very obvious what Manchester United tried to do, and it was the tale of two managers. You had one manager that was steadfast in his principles to the point where he wouldn't adapt to win the game, or he wouldn't tweak things to change the game. I think Mikel Arteta made 3 subs really early, and they lost their shape as well. And on the flip side, you had Erik Ten Hag, who said, okay, I'm going to change things a little bit again. I know this Arsenal team are very fluid on the ball. They've got 3 years on us when it comes to their project. They know exactly what their manager wants. They are going to dominate the ball. But they play this really high line that somehow across the game got higher and higher and higher, particularly when Cristiano Ronaldo came on. If you notice, Ronaldo came on and somehow their defensive line got higher. Ten Hag saw that and said, right, when we win the ball back, first touch, get it out your feet. Let's see if we can play a free ball. And it worked twice. It was really simple. And not only was their line so high, there were massive gaps in their defensive line. It just made it easy. You can't have those kind of gaps in your defensive line and have Christian Eriksen on the pitch because he'll pick you apart. That's exactly what it did, and Bruno Fernandes too. And whilst it was frustrating at points watching that game where United would win the ball back and give it away straight away, you could understand what they were trying to do. And again, I credit Ten Hag for that, because he saw the weakness and went, right, let's do that. Let's not try and keep the ball, play total football. Let's try and win the game, heaven forbid. Now, when talking about Antony, and we are going to talk about Antony in more depth in a second, Ten Hag said, quote, "We missed a player on the right wing. All the players, Jadon Sancho and Marcus Rashford, can play on the right wing, but prefer to play on the left. Now we have a right winger. We can still do things better with pressing. We had a good game plan, but the incoming from Zinchenko, for instance, that gives them overnumbering in the midfield. We can be more composed on the ball, don't give it away." And when talking about Rashford and Antony, Ten Hag said, quote, "They both played great, a continual threat. I know our offensive is really strong. They are creative and have speed. This is the first time they have played together, and this performance is great to see." And it was great to see. I thought it was fantastic. And as he said about Antony, he did well. I think he can do better. He had a great goal, but all the goals were team goals. And when asked, and this is the key thing, and this is why I talk about Ten Hag's vision and what Ten Hag has done and how he's turned it around. He was asked during his interview on Sky, he said, he was asked, how have you done it? Like, how have you managed to pick these players up after a new low in that game against Brentford, and how have you managed to rejuvenate this group of players that just look devoid of any confidence and quality? And Ten Hag said, quote, "It's a process. You have to lift the standards every day. That is my demand, and the players in our team have that demand. We have many players in the team who have won trophies, and they have to bring that standard, get the best out of the team every day." And it's true. It is absolutely true. And that's a key thing in Manchester United's history, isn't it? Is standards. And it is fascinating because I was watching the interview back this morning. Whilst I was prepping for the show, I was looking at the interviews he did after the game. I was looking at the press conference he did. I watched the highlights again and looking at a couple of different things, looking at some of the analysis some of the pundits did. And one thing I think is really standout is Roy Keane clearly loves Erik Ten Hag. You can tell he's got huge respect for him. I don't know if it's just because the other day when Ten Hag was asked, "Oh, you team Vieira or team Keane?" he went, "Oh, Roy Keane." You kidding me? But I think watching that interview after the game, I think you can see why Roy Keane admires Erik Ten Hag, and that is because he constantly talks about standards. And that's what it always used to be at Manchester United, right? High standards, high standards. Standards have to be high. Standards have to be high. It's all about setting standards. It's all about demanding the best. Good isn't good enough. He keeps saying that. Good is not good enough. It's about work rate. It's about work ethic. It's about winning. And it's also about standards. And ultimately, that's how he said, "I've turned it around. I've set standards. I've said I'm not going to tolerate." And it seems simple on the face of it. I think in the past, other managers have tried it with this group of players. And look, whether or not work in the long term, I don't know. This is still the group of players that have turned on several groups of managers before. But he set standards, and he's not willing to tolerate anything less than 100%. He said it in his program notes before the game as well. When asked, what's the real methodology? What's been the real reason behind this massive turnaround in victories and in your fortune? He said, just we give everything, 100%. That's the bare minimum. And maybe that's a sign of how bad it's got for Manchester United over the course of the last few years. That just giving the 100%, giving everything we're happy with. But that's how you win games. You win games by outworking your opponent, having more fight than your opponent, having more passion than your opponent, and having more team spirit than your opponent. And you see it in the defense particularly. They are ruthless. They are rugged. They will not give anyone any space, any time on the ball. I thought Varane and Martinez dealt with Gabriel Jesus excellently. I also thought the fullbacks, Thuram, Malacia and Dalot, particularly in that first 45 minutes, and actually for about 60 minutes of the game, I thought they had a really challenging game against Saka and Martinelli. And at points, they were getting run ragged. You know, I thought Malacia struggled against Saka at points. I thought Martinelli got past Dalot a couple of times. But I think their spirit and how they reacted to those players getting past them, I think was really commendable too. And as Ten Hag says, it is a process, and it is going to be. We have had these 4 games of consecutive victories, but there's still going to be moments this season where we're like, where it'll be a bad loss, or there'll be points where the players might stop running and Ten Hag has to remind them again, and it is a process. We can't look too far ahead. Obviously, as I mentioned, we can bask in the glory of this victory. We've got a game on Thursday in the Europa League. We'll talk about that a bit later on. But I am more confident, or maybe not confident is the right word, but that Manchester United group of players last season, and even at the beginning of this season, the biggest frustration is you would look at those players, you go, I don't even like them that much. I can't relate to them. I can't relate to them. I don't know if I believe in them, or I just don't know if I like them. Suddenly now, I see a group of players, or I see certainly a starting 11 and maybe a couple of extra players, the new signings that I like. I like them. I like some of the group of. I like the players again. I like the team. I really like the manager as well, because it feels like the manager is an extension of us. He wants to win, but he also wants them to try. and he wants them to put effort in, and he's not taking any BS. It's not anyone else's fault but their own. Certainly there's accountability back in Manchester United, and I think that's, again, I think that's the real positive. And if you don't believe in Erik ten Hag, then I don't know what to tell you. I know that the media keep saying their stuff about him. Oh, can he react? Or getting these players from the Eredivisie, it's a step up. You've got Simon Jordan talking nonsense about, oh, his suit's too big. Like that matters. when did they start criticising Pep Guardiola for his fashion sense on the touchline as well? He's in a suit, or he can be awkward in the media, or he can be this, that, and the other. All that I care about is that he wins football matches. And that's what he's doing at the moment. All I care about is that he sets standards once again at Manchester United. That's what he's doing at the moment. So I think he deserves a ton of credit, and I think he's done a fantastic job. Super chat in from Shunak, apologies if I've mispronunciated your name, says, love the show, Owen, and loved your Keno reference. The pundits, even Gary Neville, are cautious, but the real leader knows. Something is stirring at Old Trafford. Let's back the manager. Well, I absolutely do think that the manager has been backed. I think that's very true. I think the manager has been backed in terms of the transfer market. I think he had to maybe kick and fight a little bit. You know, I think that he said in one of the press conferences or one of the interviews he did recently, he said that the money was always there and this, that, and the other. I do think a negative start to the season absolutely had a part to play in some of the later business that we did. I think there's no doubt about it. But I think he has been backed with the players he's received, particularly people like Antony, who offers, again, continued massive balance to the right-hand side. Is the manner in which Manchester United went about their business this summer, was that perfect? No. Should we have done it sooner? Absolutely. Absolutely we should have done it sooner. Imagine we had the players we have in now. Imagine we had them in the first game of the season. Would those losses against Brighton and Brentford have even happened? Maybe not. But on the flip side, you could say maybe those results had to happen. Maybe they had to happen because he said he was going to give everyone a chance, and he did. He gave those certain players a chance, and they did what they've continued to do for years at this point. And he said, right, that's all I needed to see. That's all I needed to know. That's all I needed to do. I just needed to see that one bad performance, and now I get it. Now I understand. So, I think that's. Look, the manager, I think, clearly has been backed, and I think he deserves to be because he's absolutely worth it. Ray Carl Brown Amori says, Ten Hag, bring back the love this team we lost in the last couple of years. Please continue. Absolutely. I think that he really has, and appreciate the contribution. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, guys. Got nearly 1,400 people watching, so be sure to smash a like on the like button. Let's get to 500 likes early. We can do it. You and I together this morning. The solo streams, I feel we can prove ourselves. We can do the likes up early. We're all in this together. We're just like Manchester United. We're all in this together. High School Musical setting. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. What else is on tap today as well before I get into our first clip of the morning? Tactical View, of course. Cam and Flex are going to be breaking down that excellent victory at Old Trafford yesterday. So that's going to be coming later today too. So be sure to keep an eye out for that. Speaking of Flex, let's get his view on the game. Of course, he was at Old Trafford, outside the stadium yesterday. He gave his view on what he thought about Manchester United's 3-1 victory over Arsenal. Let's check it out.
What a win. First of all, you lot know it's not really my style to go after people and do that whole thing. But nah. Guna Lee and Stricto, those two guys have to hold that. Hold that. How dare you sit there in front of my face and tell me you don't fear nothing coming to here. Hold that. Hold that, just them two. There's a lot of other Arsenal fans that were saying this is an even game. I've got a lot of Arsenal friends, right? And they're saying it's an even game and, you know what I mean, there's going to be both teams in it, etc., etc. And I'll talk about the game properly and dissect it properly, right? But just those two, the audacity and the arrogance of them two. We don't fear going Man High. We don't fear no players. We played Fulham. We played Fulham and them, man. Hold that. You two, that's you two out the way. Right. Now to the game. First 15 minutes, I thought we were excellent. We come out the traps. You know, the patterns of play were there. We were dominant on the ball. We had Arsenal on the back foot. And then, the disallowed goal happens. Now, look, the Arsenal fans are obviously incensed by it, saying it's really soft, it's a disgrace, etc., etc. I thought it was soft when I first saw it. It happened right in front of me. I only saw it really quickly. But the more I see it back, I think it's just on the edge. And I think it's just about a foul. I really do. I can see why Arsenal fans are upset. But hey, that's what happened. So But after that, Arsenal were very, very dominant. You know, they've got good patterns of play. You're looking at a team that's in their manager's image. You know, the rotation was good. Zinchenko was causing us problems by coming into midfield, and that let Gabriel go out as almost like a left back, and Martinelli was left high up against Dalot, and it was causing us problems. Jesus was strong, occupying both of our centre halves, but we defended well. But Arsenal were on the ascendancy. But that naivety is still in Arsenal's game because we've still got that intensity and we've got willing runners. Marcus Rashford today, listen, for all of the flaws in some of his performances in terms of not being a focal point up front, what you're going to get from him is consistent runs. And that was it. You know, and Eriksen, that first goal, I have to talk about Christian Eriksen. I'll get back to Marcus Rashford in a bit. Christian Eriksen, this is why I love him so much. Some people on social media and some United fans are saying, I need a little bit more from him. I don't quite see it. If you don't see what he's bringing, I just do a player cam on him. Just watch him for 90 minutes. The guy is pure class. We got him for free. He is unbelievable. And that first pass he plays between the lines into Bruno. Bruno does fantastically well to make sure he gets there ahead of Gabriel. Sancho to Rashford, and again Rashford with the calmness and the composure and the right weight of pass to give it to Antony, and Antony gets us off the mark. First goal for the club, first start for the club, debut at home against Arsenal.
Big up Flex, man. Big up. There's so much to get into from Flex's fan view there. And be sure to check out the full version. It's on the channel. It's well worth a watch, as always. First of all, yeah, he is so spot on about what Stricto and Gunnar Lee were saying. The thing is, you just know when you say stuff like, "Oh, we've got nothing to fear when it comes to Manchester United," or "Manchester United aren't, they've got no threats," or "Manchester, we're going to go there and we're going to dominate." And this, where is it only going to end but badly? And you always look stupid when you do it. I mean, because make no mistake, like even if Arsenal had won yesterday, you would still say Manchester United threatened them. Manchester United scored goals. It's so. I mean, I don't know if it's arrogance. I don't know if it's just delusion. I don't know if it's, a bit overconfidence. I'm not sure, but I understand winning 5 games in a row. Look at the quality of the opposition, and then to say that Old Trafford, I don't see any threats. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous statement to make, and especially when you lose the game, which you did, 3-1. First big test against a big team this season, you lost. And that's not to say, by the way, because I'll give so much credit to Arsenal, because I thought they played really well. Arsenal will absolutely be there or thereabouts for the top 4 this season. Clearly, they play great stuff, and they've got a young squad, and they play really good football. I thought they were naive yesterday. I thought their manager got it wrong in parts. But to say that Manchester United have no threat or there's nothing to fear, make no mistake, when you come to Old Trafford, even with the worst Manchester United side, there is always, always, always something to fear. Because if it's not the players' quality, it's the quality of the fans in the stadium that will get them through it. So I thought it was a crazy statement to say, really. But hey, I'm loving it this morning. Inject it and keep it going. And now Flex brought up Christian Eriksen, and I do want to talk about Christian Eriksen because he is, words don't even really to begin to describe him. I think he's Manchester United's best signing of the summer. I think the quality he possesses in midfield, we haven't had since Michael Carrick. And I don't even know if he's a real similar player to Michael Carrick. I think that he dictates the tempo like Michael Carrick did at Manchester United. I would argue he might have a better range of passing than Michael Carrick. Michael Carrick's game was short passes, side to side, an occasional forward pass. He could maybe find that. But I think Christian Eriksen's far more dynamic than Michael Carrick was. And Christian Eriksen makes far more forward runs than Michael Carrick does. I think he covers a similar amount of distance to Michael Carrick. But the point being here, let's not do the comparisons, because the most important thing is that Christian Eriksen has become quickly in 6 games absolutely vital to our midfield. If anything happens to him this season in terms of injuries, we're screwed, because he is top quality. And again, I talk about him being our best signing of the summer. And look, we've signed a lot of players this summer. We've signed 6 players, 5 first-team starters, in my opinion. Christian Eriksen's the best of the bunch. And look at the players that we've brought in, whether it's Casemiro or whether it's Antony. I think Christian Eriksen, again, in terms of what he brings to this side and his quality, I think is vital. And I would even have him up there in terms of business in the transfer window as one of the best signings of the transfer window. And again, I know this is a summer that people have brought in Haaland and they've brought in this, that and the other, but you look at this, a free transfer A free transfer, it cost us nothing. Signing on fees and wages, right? But a free transfer that has covered more distance than any other Manchester United midfielder. He got assists yesterday. Even the goals he didn't directly get assists, he gets indirect assists because he's starting the move. Anything positive comes through Christian Eriksen. He followed Martin Odegaard around the pitch as well, man-marked their playmaker too. He, again, clearly has become absolutely vital to Manchester United. And he got the player of the match yesterday, just some of the stats we've got from the game. He had obviously an assist, he had 56 touches, 42 passes, created 3 chances, covered 11.2 kilometres, which is the second most in Manchester United's side. Again, I mentioned the assist, the touches, the passes, the chance created. Those 56 touches was the most out of a Manchester United player. The passes, 42, was the most out of a Manchester United player. The chances created, 3, was the most out of a Manchester United player. Again, immediately he's become vital to Manchester United. And it frustrated me a lot, and it almost upset me, to be honest, when in the summer, when we signed Christian Eriksen, and I saw, United fans and I saw opposition fans as well going, look at you, you've signed a 30-something-year-old guy with a heart problem. Oh, yeah, what a signing, what a big signing. And again, talking about arrogance, I thought, how arrogant is that? You're telling me you're going to let an incident at the European Championships last year define, a near-death experience define a player of that quality. That's what you're going to let define Christian Eriksen. Instead, why don't you let his recovery and his level of quality right now, how about that defines Christian Eriksen? How about you say, actually, instead of trying to run a player down for a fact that he nearly died last year, instead of running him down about that and say, oh, look who you bought, why don't you say now, look who you bought? A year ago, or just over a year ago, Christian Eriksen was down on a pitch. We weren't even sure if he was ever going to live again, let alone play. The fact that just over 12 months later, he's getting Player of the Match awards for Manchester United in high-profile matches in front of 75,000 people at Old Trafford against Arsenal. How about you let that define his quality? Because that's how good he is. And if anything, it makes him a better player, it makes him a better man, that he has the courage and the ability to come back from death's door and still be the best player on the pitch. How about you let that define his quality? So all of those naysayers, and the tweets are out there, I'm sure you'll be able to find them. And all of those naysayers that ran him down based on what happened to him last year, they are well and truly in the mud with all of the Arsenal fans this morning, and they should be. Because if you start saying stuff like that about players of that quality, you have to eat a bit of humble pie. And you absolutely should. Because it's ridiculous. Those are the kind of statements that are ridiculous. And again, I think he's Manchester United's best signing of the summer. And I think he's well up there as some of the best bit of business that any team has done this summer. And you can see exactly why Manchester United wanted him. And as he said yesterday after the game, it was a lovely afternoon. it was a lovely afternoon. Because it was a lovely afternoon for Manchester United. And it was a lovely afternoon for Christian Eriksen as well. Because he's just that good. He really is just that good. And just the only shame about Christian Eriksen is that, because this is a couple of times we've tried to sign him, actually. We've tried to sign him a couple of times before he went to Spurs. And when he left Spurs and we never got it done, I'm just glad that he's here now. I really am, because I thought he was tremendous and well deserving of the Player of a Match award. And he will only get better for Manchester United too. He really will. And speaking of impressive performances, well, Rafael Varane and Lisandro Martinez, again, top quality. Top quality. That centre-back partnership is just fantastic for Manchester United, isn't it? It really is. They've played, 4 games together now, conceded 2 goals, and the goals that they've conceded for Manchester United in those 2 games have been no real quality from the opposition. Look at the goal we conceded yesterday. Rafael Varane gives it away, and Arsenal then have the attack, and David De Gea kind of comes out into no man's land, taps it into an empty net, really. Goes through the legs of Martinez, but they didn't score because of quality yesterday. They scored because of an error. And that back four, that centre-back partnership, once again, is robust. And I have faith in them. Rafael Varane, every single time Gabriel Jesus got the ball, right up at him. And if he can stay fit, by the way, that starting 11 should be nowhere near the Europa League on Thursday. None of them should start because I thought they looked leggy anyway. And frankly, we've now actually got the squads that the team that will start, hopefully in the Europa League, will feature the likes of Ronaldo, Casemiro. It's not a bad side at all. So they should be doing a job in the Europa League as well. There was a concern about Lisandro Martinez. Of course, he came off and people were saying, does that mean he's injured? What's going on with Lisandro Martinez? Reports are that Lisandro Martinez is fine. Only the adductor was loaded a little. He went off as a precaution, but it's nothing serious. That's according to reports based in Argentina, which of course is where Lisandro Martinez is from. So Clearly, you would say maybe someone close to his camp spoke to a journalist, whether you believe it or not, but the overall reaction is that Lisandro Martinez is fine, which is what we like to see as well. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. We've got nearly 1,600 people watching. We can get to 500 likes, absolutely. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. You can also vote for us in the Football Content Awards too. Links are in the video description for that. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat too. It's footballcontentawards.com/voting. That is, once again, footballcontentawards.com/voting. You can nominate us there, and if you wish, and if we get to the sort of final stage, that would be amazing. The community here is absolutely brilliant. It's just amazing. It makes me excited to get up on a Monday morning and chat to you guys. I'm so fortunate to be blessed with all of your company this morning. Thank you very much for inviting me into your homes, or however you watch us this morning. Now, speaking of quality, speaking of the main event, speaking of really what we all came here to see, that is the reaction. I don't know about you. I'll start this again, because after the game yesterday, I mean, he was in the chat this morning. I thought, I'll tell you, there's one person I want to hear from. There's one person I really want to hear from, and that is KG, that comedian. You know, he hates Arsenal. Arsenal is the team he wants to beat the most out of anyone, and if you were excited or interested to see what KG had to say after the game, boy, did it live up to the hype. Let's take a look.
Free. I've got no voice. Man United free. Arsenal.
Hip your smell! No, hold on.
Man United
Go on,
free,
go on.
Arsenal won.
Yep.
Obviously, they're top of the league.
Yep.
They came here 5-5.
Yep.
And we won the game. We put it on them. When it mattered.
Listen, I don't know what's going on with Arsenal. I don't know what's going on at the back, but it's not nice. Yeah? It's not nice. Yeah? All I'm saying is, you saw what we did, bro. Arsenal, this is what they do. They win a couple games and they start to dream. Them man talking about title race, aspirations. It's not even January, already on the floor. Already on the floor. Or on the floor. No, I'm talking about Arsenal thinking about the title race. They're not in a title race. They're not in a title race. Again, Man United, we know what we're doing. We're building. This is like a free. This is like a free hit season. Wait, hold on. Wait, stop. I'm not a prophet, but I predicted this.
Did you say 3-1?
I said 3-1 in the car.
You did say 3-1 in the car.
Common sense resumed. I said, hold on, it's us now. It's us now. We're playing small Arsenal, bro. Baby Arsenal. These lot ain't even the biggest team in London, but they want to talk. And they said because they beat common Fulham. Because they beat common Fulham, that they can now, and Crystal Palace. It's now us. It's impossible. It's very shameless what they've done. But no, on a real, yeah. Obviously, smoking on this light Arsenal pack. It's light. We're not even high. Yeah.
It's not a real grade.
It's not even high grade. We need bigger teams. But all I'm saying is, our manager's building. Our manager took. Wait. Ask me about Antony.
What do you reckon about Antony today?
We didn't pay enough.
We didn't pay enough.
We didn't pay enough. Did you see the celebration, Flex?
Yeah, proper.
Flex, there's levels to celebrating. I told you, this guy came in, he wore the shirt, and you know, to wear the Man United shirt is sometimes heavy for certain players. A lot of players can't just wear the shirt. It's very difficult. This player, completely different. Why? Because he has the big attitude. He saw, bro, even he could have got booked. But because he's like, you know, I've arrived. He started tapping at, tapping at the badge. Yeah, tapping at the badge, and he knows what time it is. That guy is the answer to the right hand side.
Man, I love KG so much. I love him so much. I mean, it's not only because it works so perfectly. Because when I did the interview of him after the game in the week against Leicester, when I did the fan view of him, and he took the microphone out of my hand like I was Jonathan Coachman and he was The Rock, and he finally, you know, he was giving it all that. I thought, oh, KG, gotta be careful, man. You gotta be careful. But you know what I admire about KG is he says it with a chest. Every single time he says it with a chest. He was willing to accept the consequences if it backfired, and it didn't. And afterwards, he went, if you smell. It's just brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Loved KG so much. Now, he spoke about Antony, about that game, of course. Premier League debut, Manchester United debut, home debut, all of the debuts, and taps it off with a goal. I thought he did well. I don't think that, clearly he's not fully fit. That's why he came off after 60 minutes. But, you know, he brings just something different to what we have, clearly, Antony, right? I mean, he has that balance. I've spoke about balance so much when it comes to Antony. And it was just so refreshing to have a player on that right-hand side that was left-footed, that wanted to cut inside. And he's got pace, he's got flair, a couple of nice flicks. Some stuff he tried didn't really pay off. that's going to happen. I mean, but you're willing to take that if he delivers goals like he did yesterday. And you're willing to take that if he offers balance and he offers pace. There's so much more to him, and I think there's so much more that he will have to offer. And I think he'll be more influential in games going forward. But again, his goal, I think I think there's a lot of people, as Erik ten Hag said about the goals. I thought all the goals were actually really good team goals. I really did, and I think you have to look at the initial pass by Christian Eriksen. As I spoke about Christian Eriksen, the guy is just superb. That initial pass is excellent. Bruno Fernandes, bit of a heavy touch, gets fouled, but referee gives advantage. Good refereeing decisions. Talk about refereeing decisions in a second. Gives it to Sancho. Sancho gives it to Rashford, who finally did what he was meant to do up front, i.e. hold the ball up. His touch was fine. He brings the player in. I think it's Zinchenko. Brings Zinchenko in, gives a bit of space for Antony, puts it in the bottom corner. Again, with his left foot off the right-hand side, which is what you want to see. So, again, that incident there on the right-hand side, maybe it doesn't happen if Rashford's playing on the right-hand side. Maybe it doesn't happen if it's Sancho or even Antony Elanga. That left-footed right winger is exactly what we needed. So I think he offers pace. I think he offers balance. I think he offers flair. Of course, it's a lot of money. But how do you silence people? We said this before, didn't we, guys? How do you silence people when it comes to talking about big transfer fees? How do you silence people when they say you're overpriced or you're overhyped? Score goals. Performances, success, that's how you silence it. And he did that yesterday. And again, I do think there's more to come. I'll be interested to see once he does really get fully up to fitness, how influential he's going to be. There was a clip that I saw United put on social media of actually inside the ground. And when he scores, the place just erupts. And it did feel like just a real big moment for a young player. You have to remember he's a young player as well. He's only 22. And it just felt like a big moment, an arrival moment. We've seen it before, Anthony Martial, arrival moment. Look at what's happened years later. But it did feel like a big deal for him. And I really, really hope that it's the beginning of good stuff for him. And clearly, Ten Hag knows his ability and he rates him. So we'll see about that. Game Fanatic with a super chat. Appreciate the contribution. Says, who else loved McTominay WWEing Jesus? His sort of the rugby throw, the judo throw he did to him, I thought was excellent. I did enjoy that myself. It was very, very good. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. Speaking of Antony as well, he commented on social media after the game saying, quote, "What an incredible day. A huge thanks to all of the Manchester United staff and my teammates. I'll never forget this day. To United fans, all my affection for this reception. Let's go for more. This is just the beginning." And hopefully it is just the beginning for Antony. Now, I don't expect him to play against Sociedad in the Europa League on Thursday. He might come on for minutes just because he might need minutes. But as I mentioned with that Europa League game, I don't want to see really anyone of that starting 11 in that team. I think we can rotate and have a team that's good enough to beat Sociedad. I think people like, Maguire and Shaw will get minutes. I think, Wan-Bissaka will get minutes. But I also think Casemiro will get minutes. I think Cristiano Ronaldo will get minutes. Anthony Elanga. There are players in there. We have a good rotational, squad. I think Fred will play as well. That should be good enough to beat Sociedad. And if they don't, if we're rubbish, then you can again point out it's almost a win-win for Erik ten Hag, because even if they don't perform, that rotational group of players, you'll say, well, there you go. That's why you dropped them from the first team in the first place, right? And maybe won't rotate the entire team, but I would expect wholesale changes. I would expect wholesale changes because he needs to, because particularly in that game against Arsenal and against Leicester in the week, we did look leggy. I think we did look leggy at points, and I've actually felt like when he made those subs and he brought on Ronaldo and he brought on Fred, we looked rejuvenated and we got a second wind. I thought Ronaldo actually played very well when he came on. I thought he offered a focal point up front, and I thought Rashford played a lot better coming off the left. We're going to talk about Rashford in a little minute, but I expect wholesale changes absolutely in the week against Sociedad. People talking about Donny. Chris says Donny won't start. Sad face. Well, Donny was not in the squad yesterday because he was injured. So if Donny doesn't start against Sociedad on Thursday, it might be due to injury. And you can't overlook Real Sociedad. They're a really good side. They've got David Silva in the team. I think, was it last year? Or I think it was last year or the year before. I forget. They were right at the top of the league for a little bit. Not that they were going to ever win La Liga, but they're a good quality side. And United's record against Spanish opposition is not great, particularly Spanish opposition that you would think United would be favoured to beat. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that. But, guys, obviously here, it's a United channel, but we're going to give a balanced view this morning. We've got the view of Flex and KG, but I think it's only right that we get the view of an opposition fan. So let's see what AFTV's Robbie said after the game, and we'll talk about his comments.
I've been following this team since pre-season, and what you saw today, we've been doing that since then. And we've lost today, but we still put in a very good performance. And I'm still infused about my team, right? I think the goal that was disallowed was a shocking decision. Right? I'm sorry, right? To pull it all the way back to the halfway line, I said it on my channel, that was our Old Trafford decision, right?
Nah, it's not. Nah. First step here. Hold on. Nah, do you know what? Just quickly on that. That's a Premier League. No, I'm not. No, hold on. I have to say, that's a Premier League decision. That's not just Old Trafford. We just saw that happen at Stamford Bridge the other day.
No, but then
that's the officials just being pulled. But I still think Odegaard's hands are out. There's just enough in there to disallow that.
Just enough. I'm sorry. How many goals are we going to take out the game if we're going to pull things back for them a little soft thing like that? The referees this year were instructed. The referees were instructed. Let more things go. Let it be a more physical game, right? Right. Odegaard's pressing and he's won the ball. Right, Odegaard's pressing. Eriksen's
I don't think he won the ball cleanly, though.
Eriksen.
He doesn't actually make. He doesn't.
Hold on, Eriksen has bought it, has used all his experience, right, to go down. But I don't think that's a foul. And you know, when is a referee on the pitch going to be brave enough to turn around to the VAR people and say, you know what? I'm sticking with my on-field thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But the minute they go to that screen, we all know what's going to happen. The VAR, it's not the fault of United fans, but the VAR in this country is shocking. We're gonna ruin.
I honestly think that's a foul, though. I think it's just enough.
I'm a fan of having VAR because I want to see decisions be right. Right. But it's the people who run it. I just don't like the system over here, the way it's done. Right, and
it's not consistent. It's not consistent.
And you look at Martinelli scored a brilliant goal, right, at Old Trafford, and then that's.
I've had the fortune of speaking to Robbie a couple of times, and I really like Robbie, but he is way off about the VAR thing. And I think, look, it was a weekend of really bad VAR decisions and bad refereeing decisions. And I've been really, really critical of referees this weekend and really critical of VAR. I think our officiating in the Premier League is some of the worst officiating in Europe. It's really poor. And some of the big decisions this weekend, you can talk about, obviously, the Stamford Bridge decision, Newcastle, Aston Villa, shocking decisions. And the fact that they have a second look at it and they continue to get it wrong and there's no accountability and you can't hear the conversations they're having and they don't explain why, and they're going to have a meeting today, I think, the Premier League referees, and it's a matter of urgency. The standard of refereeing and officiating is rubbish, but ultimately yesterday, if there was ever a positive example of VAR, a positive example of getting an incorrect decision right, it was yesterday. Like, it really was. I thought it was the right call. And I'm saying this as, if the shoe was on the other foot, honestly, if the shoe was on the other foot, and Christian Eriksen fouled Martin Odegaard and we went on the other end and Rashford scored, but they ruled it out because of VAR, I'd have said, well, that's annoying. It's a bit soft, but it's a foul. It is a foul. I saw Robbie say he got the ball. He did not get the ball. Again, is it soft? Sure, it's maybe soft, but I didn't. I looked at that challenge when I was watching it live on the match view, and again, it's not just because I'm a United fan. I think it's objectively a foul. There is contact, and most importantly, there's contact with the player, but there's no contact with the ball. Therefore, it's a foul. Like that is a foul. That is a positive use of VAR, and to try and lump it in with the other really egregious decisions this weekend, I just think is off base. Again, you want to look at bad decisions. Look at the goal that was ruled out at Stamford Bridge. Look at even Brighton yesterday when McAllister scored a thunderbolt, rocket it, top corner, and they ruled out for interference of play of offside that nobody appealed for. That's my issue with VAR, is they're looking for, I believe sometimes, they're looking for any kind of reason to rule a goal out. You can always find fault in a goal. You can always find something that's wrong in a goal. Doesn't necessarily mean it should be ruled out. Yesterday, that foul directly influenced them scoring. They get the ball because they fouled Christian Eriksen. Martin Odegaard fouled Christian Eriksen, gives the pass, they go up the other end and score. That goal wouldn't happen if they'd given that foul. It was a foul. There was no contact with the ball. It was all contact with the player. That's it. Is it soft? Sure. But if the shoe was on the other foot, I understand the frustration. They lost the game and they would have been 1-0 up. And look, if they score, it completely changes the game. Of course it does. They grow into confidence. Manchester United could collapse and the game could be completely different. But in my opinion, it was the right decision. And I don't think the referee had an amazing game yesterday, to be honest. There were some decisions that I was surprised by. I thought a couple of Arsenal players should have got bookings way early on. I give him credit for our first goal because he played advantage, which directly related to the goal. So I thought he did well there. But it doesn't change that there still has to be a massive conversation about referees and VAR, because the application of VAR in the Premier League is just beyond poor. Really, really poor. And I've said before, we recruit players and coaches from around the world, the best in class when it comes to players, coaches, you name it. The Premier League has the best. So why do we settle for mediocrity when it comes to referees? Why aren't we recruiting referees from around Europe? Why aren't we saying to the referees, tell you what, we're the best league in the world, we've got the most money, the biggest broadcasting revenue in the world, why don't we bring the best referees in? Because we should, it's not good enough. But yesterday, he got that decision right. Well, initially he got it wrong. That's what frustrates me a little bit is, again, eventually they got there and they got the decision right by going to the VAR and they recommended to have a look at it. But he got that first decision wrong, which again, I thought was a bad decision. So I disagree. I disagree. I think that it's probably a little bit of frustration from Arsenal fans, but I thought ultimately they made the right call, really. And again, to lump it in with those other decisions that were objectively bad this weekend, like the Chelsea one, like the Aston Villa one, like the Newcastle one, that's the difference for me. It was the right call eventually. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. We still got over 1,500 people watching. How many likes have we got? We've got 434, only less than 60 odd to go, 65, 66 to go. So if you haven't already, smash a like on the like button. We can get to 500. We can do that, absolutely. Let's go to another clip. Speaking of, by the way, before I go to this clip, Marcel, did you see Marcel's reaction to when Robbie was talking about that? I've never seen Marcel's eyes get wider than when Robbie started talking about that VR. I thought it was going to pop out his head. I was worried about Marcel for a second. It's like, he was like that. I was like, oh, is Marcel okay? Oh, he couldn't believe it. He was shocked. So big up Marcel. Put the Marcel porridge emoji in the chat. As we hear what Marcel thought about the game, let's get a bit of Marcel positivity. It's never too early for some hopium. Here's what Marcel had to say.
I've been saying, we was going to win this game. I believed this was going to happen, and it's coming to fruition. I mean, the first 10 minutes, we were playing very well. It was very good football. We was very patient in the build-up, but it was just that final third. We couldn't make it completely threatening. We would get to the final third and then nothing would happen. And we couldn't get the final ball through. And then when they score, through what was a foul, by the way, Eriksen gets fouled, they score, and that kind of just breaks up our momentum. We was on the back foot after that for about 20 minutes or so. And the first half was a bit sketchy. I mean, the back four, again, they've been brilliant. That back four is different class right now. They locked up Jesus. Last time it was Salah in the pocket. This time they locked up Jesus. He could not do anything today. And this looks so well. I mean, Eriksen has been fantastic as well, keeping the ball, recycling the ball for us. Love Eriksen. And then with Scott there, Ten Hag talks about balance. That balance there seemed to work right now. I mean, at any occasion, Scott's winning the second ball. He's winning fouls when he has to. He's picking up yellow cards if he has to. It's brilliant in there, man. And today just looked good in the first half. It could have been a bit better if we had just had the end product. The end product does come at one moment from Rashford. Rashford plays the ball out into Antony, and it's a good finish. Antony coming on was special today.
Starting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gets a goal as well.
It was special
Hasn't
today.
been here long. What's your first initial reaction to him?
Last-ditch tackles, a little bit of that aggression as well. We've got Malacia that has the bite. Delo's bringing the bite and the fight. Scott's bringing the fight and the attitude. The back two are bringing the fight, and he's kind of picking up that attitude as well. He was hitting players when he had to, winning fouls when he had to. Tried a lot of skills here and there that didn't work out, but it's early signs for him. But again, trust from his man.
Big up Marcel, talking about Marcus Rashford, talking about Bruno Fernandes, saying Bruno Fernandes is looking more like a captain. I do want to single out Marcus Rashford as well because, yes, it was frustrating at times watching him as the number 9 because his hold-up play isn't necessarily there and he isn't the point, maybe, that Erik ten Hag is looking for, a point to play off. But you can't argue with the numbers. You can't. And I think, that Rashford deserves a ton of credit, but also Erik ten Hag deserves a ton of credit. That Marcus Rashford, the last time he scored 2 goals was it 2020? That was the last time he got a brace. You know, it's a remarkable turnaround for him. Yesterday, his stats: 100% chance conversion, 100% shot accuracy, 23 touches, 2 shots, 2 touches in the opposition box, 2 chances created, 2 goals, 1 assist. Clinical. He was absolutely clinical yesterday. And again, he deserves a ton of credit. Do I think he's best suited to being a striker? No. I think he looked far more dangerous and far more influential coming off the left-hand side when Cristiano Ronaldo was on the pitch. And you know, I think Ronaldo will start more games in the future. And I also think that when Anthony Martial comes back, Rashford will get shifted out to the left-hand side, and I think that'll be better for him. I think as a 9, he might get some more assists, but if he wants goals, he'll get them off the left-hand side. And he was clinical yesterday. I remember against Brighton at Old Trafford earlier on this season, he had a 1-1 he missed. Last 2 1-1s he's had against Alisson and against Ramsdale, he scored. Got a bit of fortune against Ramsdale yesterday. It was a little bit of deflection when he had it. But again, I think he deserves credit for riding the storm with some of the negative comments as well. I still think it's too early to give him a new contract. Nothing too soon just yet. But again, I think he deserves credit. And again, I think Ten Hag deserves a ton of credit as well. A couple of super chats here. Might have missed them before. Here we go. Game Fanatic says, swap positions and AFTV would be supporting VAR. Again, that was exactly my point, Game Fanatic. I think if the shoe was on the other foot, they would be saying that it was a good decision. And for me, again, if it was shoe was on the other foot and it ruled out a United goal, I'd be frustrated, but I would say I think it's the right call. Ray Carl Brown says, it was a foul. They wouldn't have scored that goal. I understand from an Arsenal fan perspective, but that goal was terrible. Yeah, I agree. I think, and to be fair, I think most people, maybe not Arsenal fans, but I think most people agree with that as well. Let's do the final clip, and then we'll talk about a couple of other stories as well, because I do want to get into this ownership story before I wrap things up too. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. Let's hear from Statman Cam. Of course, a reminder, Tactical View will be coming out later today, so be sure to check that out. Here's what Cam thought of the game yesterday.
Phase of the game, brilliant. I mean, we said even in the Brighton and Brentford games, we made some really big mistakes, did a lot of things very wrong. But when we had the ball, we were much better. 1 and 2 touch passing, looks a lot more fluent, players in the right places. And today, first 10 minutes, we were sustaining attacks again. Minimum width thing. As soon as they had the ball out, there's a United player right there because they're in the right position. It's not by accident. Ten Hag wants us to play like this. We're doing it. We're not using the full width of the pitch, but that's so that we get players in the right place to pick things up. We can keep the ball going. And look, we're a fantastic team now. Every phase of the game, we are a fantastic team now.
Is that what it is? We're actually building a unit and building a team because, you know, yeah, Arsenal got all the patterns of play. They had Zinchenko coming in from left back to central midfield, causing us problems, causing us overloads. Yeah, their repetition is there because they play under a manager for a while now. But for how early we are in our development, to still play like that and find a way to compete and still dispatch of a team that's really well organised now was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, look, the reality is we can't sustain playing like we did in the first 10 minutes for the whole game. We're not at that level yet. The fitness isn't there. Game-wise, we're just not there yet. But what we can do when we can't keep the ball, we sit in that mid-block. It's really aggressive. As soon as the ball goes back to the keeper, we're stepping up to the halfway line. That line does not move from the halfway line. It's aggressive and they can't come through us. I mean, again, today, they didn't really come through apart from when we gave them the ball. Even the goal they scored.
The Varane one, yeah.
Yeah, Varane gave it to them, but also, to be honest, De Gea shouldn't be playing that short. Has he learnt nothing from the past few games? If you kick it long, get it away from us. Yeah, we don't retain the ball, but if we're going to lose it anyway, you'd rather lose it 50 yards from your goal than 20. So I don't understand why we're giving it to them. And then the other couple of big chances they had was just Ronaldo giving them the ball a couple of times. And to be fair, I'll give him his dues. He was all right when he came on, but again, it's the only time they had chances were when we gave them the ball. Outside of that, our mid-block looks fantastic. Nothing comes through the middle.
Big up Cam, as I mentioned, keep an eye out for the Tactical View when it does drop. I do want to talk about this Manchester United ownership story as well, because I think it's still important to talk about. We can be positive about results and transfers, but the main transfer we still want to see is the Glazers out the club, so it's important to keep the conversation going. A report last night from Mike Keegan of the Daily Mail said that around £3.75 billion would be enough to prize Manchester United from the Glazer family, according to well-placed sources. Now, you could argue, okay, so who's the contenders? Who are the people that are going to be interested in buying Manchester United? Of course, we know Sir Jim Ratcliffe has put his stance out publicly that he would be interested in purchasing the club. The purchase of Manchester United is well within the range of sovereign wealth funds, such as Dubai, which is yet to follow Abu Dhabi, of course, Manchester City, and Saudi Arabia, Newcastle, in adding a top-flight club to its portfolio. The Emirates is rumoured to be a contender. Now, whether or not this does happen, my most important thing I think about all of this is to keep the conversation going. And I have some people say, oh, Manchester United have signed a couple of players or a couple of victories, and the Glazer talk is stopping this, that, and the other. I disagree somewhat. I think that the issue is with the ownership situation in terms of new owners is that I believe protests should continue. I don't think they should stop. As I mentioned, I think it's really important to keep the conversation ongoing, to keep the trends ongoing, to keep making your voice heard. Just because things are going well at United on the pitch or when it comes to signings doesn't mean that we are suddenly sustainable or we're suddenly well run, because we're still not. And the structure and the methodology in which the Glazers run Manchester United is not sustainable. And again, the fact that we've been able to spend over £200 million in the transfer window is staggering, considering it's all Manchester United's money. It's all self-generated. No other club in world football can do that. That's just the giant that Manchester United is. Imagine what we could do with outside investment. And the stadium still needs to be redone. The training ground still needs to be redone. I think the difficult thing is with this is that an ownership transfer doesn't happen overnight. As they've said, and it's been reported, when you're talking about the finances we're talking about here, £3-4 billion, a takeover can take 18 months, 2 years to do. And frankly, when it is happening, we might not hear about it until the very last minute, because when you've got transactions of this size, you have confidentiality happening too. The positive thing is here is that these conversations keep going, and there does appear to be, at least in as far as I can remember, it does appear to be that still there are people within the club, there are people within the ownership structure, there are members of the Glazer family that want out, that want to sell. Now, by all accounts, people like Joel Glazer are still resistant and don't want to sell. But I think if the conversation continues and if we keep talking about it and if we keep hearing reports about people being interested, and the Glazers, all they care about is money, I do think the chink in the armor is finally there. And the fact that they are open to selling, or parts of the family are open to selling, that does raise the attention of people like Sir Jim Ratcliffe or other people or other consortiums and go, actually, there might be an offer to be done here. Sir Jim Ratcliffe said before, the reason I didn't put an offer in before is because Manchester United wasn't for sale. Now, is a club for like the size of Manchester United ever officially for sale? Probably not. But it would appear, and this is probably the difference between being for sale and being open for offers, it appears that United might be open for offers. So I think that's the key thing. And look, Simpson here says the Chelsea sale was done within 3 months. It's a different situation, the Chelsea sale, though, because it had to be. If the Chelsea sale wasn't done in 3 months, the club would have been liquidated because the owner was sanctioned and the money was going to disappear. That was the problem. It had to get sold within that period of time. If it didn't, Chelsea wouldn't exist anymore. That's not the case of Manchester United. It's an apples to oranges situation. And I think, again, the Chelsea sale has kind of skewed people for thinking that's how takeovers happen. That is very atypical. That is very, very atypical of how clubs get sold. Usually it takes a long period of time. It was because their owner was sanctioned for right reasons, and also then it had to get done. Otherwise, there were real concerns about Chelsea not being able to operate. So that's the situation when it comes to the Glazers and the ownership. But as I mentioned, guys, I think it's important to keep the conversation going, and I think it's important to keep the conversation happening and to keep talking about it. Absolutely. So we'll wrap it up there, guys. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. We did hit 500 likes as well, so appreciate that. As I mentioned, Tactical View, keep an eye out for that. There's plenty of content coming up as well, talking about the weekend, analysing the weekend, and still basking in that glory of the weekend as well. As I mentioned, you can join the UV Members Club by clicking the link in the video description. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your exclusive members-only content, such as UV Raw, a behind-the-scenes look at the day-to-day happenings to United View, which will be dropping, another episode will be dropping this week as well. And as I mentioned too, you can vote for us in the Football Content Awards. Links are in the video description. It's also the pinned chat, the pinned comment in the live chat as well. So if you wish, you can nominate us there. I'm out of here, guys. Have a great Monday, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Peace.